included some footage of the Samsung Galaxy S3 event at the start of the last phone show, and yet I wanted to say some more things about this latest flagship device. For starters, I was somewhat stunned by the negative reaction around the world, much of which was from people who hadn't even held the SGS3 in their hands as I did. Yes, the materials used aren't quite up to those in HTC's One X, but that's the only negative. In the Galaxy S3 we have a Super AMOLED display that's stunning. Never mind it being pentile, it's improved pentile and apparently lasts much longer than RGB AMOLED displays, and I loved it. Plus we get mass memory and a micro SD slot so you can expand the memory. We get a huge and replaceable battery, yes. We get a proper menu control, not the multitasking thing which will just confuse everybody. And most of all, we get both a nice large physical home button and a side-mounted power button, both of which you can reach and both of which can wake the device up. Never mind the S this and the S that, I'll test out all the software and sensor extras when the device does arrive for review. And never mind how great the HTC One X was, the SGS3 does top it in my eyes by quite some way. Both phones are huge though. You might also like to scan over my article quoted here. I'm not sure the mass market is actually ready for either device. In a world of huge tablet phones, there came a plucky challenger with superpowers. You get the idea. This is the Sony Ericsson Xperia Active, and it's, well, pretty terrific. Look past the slightly modest 1 GHz processor and 512 megabytes of RAM. Look past the use of Android 2.3.4. Look past the 3-inch half VGA display and check out an Android phone that's fun and colourful and, well, indestructible. The idea is to give you a full smartphone running Android for all the occasions when you'd be afraid to carry around a full 4.5-inch screened ultra expensive smartphone like the Galaxy Nexus or Samsung Galaxy S3. You can drop this while jogging for the last bus home. You can drop it in your beer. You can use it in the pouring rain. You can use it on a sandy beach with all the dust and sand and wind. In fact, short of crushing it under a tank, the Xperia Active should stay working well whatever you do. The front is machined aluminium with a lanyard loop with Gorilla Glass inlaid. You then get protective layers on the back. The actual back cover here in black with a white version available too if you prefer the colour scheme, which clamps in place the main waterproof seal here. Take the latter off and you're down to the battery, the SIM and micro SD access. In fact, I think Sony could have slipped in a fatter battery here. This one is 1200 milliamp hours, which is fine for this form factor in truth. The back then reassembles very nicely with the back cover clipping in place and the port covers here over the data and audio ports just clamping the back even further into position. The rubberized finish carries on right round the back of the phone, making the Xperia Active very secure in the hand. Again, this is something that you can brandish on a night out or while out mountain biking with zero worries. It even comes with an armband for securing it while exercising, and the review unit also came with this live view watch with a meaty strap giving you music control, text message, Twitter and Facebook updates all on this tiny 1-inch screen. It's a bit fiddly because of the size of the display and the very sensitive side of screen touch sensitive controls. I would have preferred actual buttons when I'm out about and being physical, but kudos to Sony, the system does work seamlessly and may be just what you need. Do note though that you will have then 2 devices to charge up every day. The Live View watch isn't movement or solar powered. 320 megabytes of internal flash memory will be enough for all but real power users, and you can expand the Active as much as you like with micro SD. Try doing that with a top of the range HTC One S or X. Matter. Typing and portrait is defaulted to T9, which is fair enough at this size of screen, with virtual QWERTY as the default in landscape mode. I had no complaints, even though it's all obviously so much more fiddly than on the modern large screen superphones. Sony's Timescape UI here is in its corner mode, which does work rather well on such a tiny screen. It's easy to customize which apps pop up from which corner, and widgets work as well here as on other Android phones. Android is Android, of course, with the usual apps and benefits: Cloud Sync, Maps, the Android Marketplace, Google Play, what a silly name. Plus, Sony has bundled a load of extras that are worthy of note. Track ID here helps identify the music on the jukebox at the pub after your hike. WhatsApp provides always-on cross-platform IM, and Sporty Pal Pro here provides comprehensive logging of cycling, running, rollerblading, sailing, and more outdoor activities than you could possibly brainstorm. There's a hookup with the Live View too for readout of your activity, though this wanted a voucher, and so it's presumably a subscription-based commercial feature. Sue, who lent me the Xperia Active, also told me that this all works with the Ant Plus accessories, so that's heart rate monitors and the like, which is pretty cool if you're into serious sportsmanship. There's a Foursquare client, office document viewers, a flashlight app, always useful, a Walkmate, a pedometer. There's Compass, an unbelievably slick and beautiful compass utility, and a truckload of bloatware, Wise Pilot, Hotshots, McAfee, Sony's various content stores. Just bin all that lot and move it out of the way if you ask me. As an Android smartphone, it's all a bit of a squeeze, as you might imagine, but media playback is very competent, and I was pleasantly surprised by the speaker included here. Another top quality Sony Ericsson component, really clear and not at all tinny. And you get some decent Sony Ericsson in-ear headphones, not cheap outer-ear ones as on many other Android phones these days. The camera is not bad either, considering how small it is, and there's a proper camera shutter button. Well done, Sony Ericsson. It's certainly good enough for snaps while you're on the moors, even if it's as blurry as the next LED flash superphone when down the pub later on. Video capture's adequate for the device. This is on the Active, 720p with continuous autofocus, though it's not going to win any awards for absolute quality. Still, again, for a device this size. The 320 by 480 pixel display is thankfully the same transflective LCD that we've seen on many recent Sony Ericsson products, so it's nice and clear outdoors in the sun, which of course is where most Xperia Active users will need it most. It's claimed to have wet finger tracking, enabling capacitive touch when wet, essentially a set of touch event filters in the software. This works with raindrops, but if you are planning on playing Angry Birds in the bath or similar, then you might be disappointed. Capacitive tech is still ultimately limited by water being a conductor of electricity. Apparently this device will get an Android 4 update at some point, though as ever with Sony, don't hold your breath. The form factor, the fluorescent orange case midsection, the slightly cut down specs, may not be to everyone's cup of tea, but I loved it. Not that I'm young enough or sporty enough to really appreciate this, but there will be plenty of other normal phone users out there who are far more active and for whom this is the Android phone that's not too fragile for their lifestyle. And it doesn't cost the earth for them. The Xperia Active, unbelievably, can be found for as little as £165 SIM-free here in the UK, around one third the cost of the cheapest iPhone 4S or HTC flagship. Having experienced various family members accidentally dunking their electronics in water last week, I'm all for kit that survives, and that's something the Xperia Active is amply equipped to do. Would I pick it over the larger and more capable Motorola Defy Plus at roughly the same price? Tough call. As a geek, I'd probably pick the Defy, but the styling and size of the Xperia Active make it a great little recommendation for those who treasure size, style, and, well, fun. This is the Xperia Active.